Hello, everybody. Kat here. Wow, there's been a lot going on lately, so I figured it was time to do some royal updates. First off, the first thing I want to talk about is Giles Brandwaite's new book coming out about Queen Elizabeth that's being serialized in the Daily Mail. Now, Giles met Prince Philip in the 70s, and they had been friends up until his death. Loyal, good friends. Giles is the ultimate insider. He knew the Queen very well. And so I think he's a credible guy. And they've been doing excerpts of the book and different revelations here and there that have come out. It looks like it's going to be really interesting. Well, some of the newest revelations, the Queen, when Harry first introduced Meghan to her, she kind of liked her. The Queen understood even at that time that they may want to step back from royal duties. She told Meghan, you can continue to work. You know, she was giving them all the options for what they subsequently said why they left the royal family. They didn't have to. It was offered to them right from the start as an option, but you see, Meghan wanted the titles and the tiaras and the worldwide stage. She didn't want to just step aside right from the get-go. She had to get those things. So that was very interesting. All these claims that Meghan said, oh, nobody liked her, nobody supported her, everybody was mean to her. The Queen and the rest of the royal family were very welcoming to her at the beginning, until they understood what she was all about. Another quip I found quite fun that Charles Brandwaite attributes to the Queen concerning Harry's relationship with Meghan. She said, perhaps Harry is a little too much in love with her. In the Queen's understated way, that says a lot. Queen can't use the term pussy whipped, but you know that that's what she was thinking. So that was very interesting. And what have we got coming up? Well, we've got a couple awards ceremonies coming up. The Earthshot Prize this week in Boston, where William and Kate, along with the John F. Kennedy Foundation, will present a $1 million award to a person or a group of people that are working on projects related to climate change and those issues. They're giving away $1 million. Harry and Meghan are going to be lauded by the Robert F. Kennedy Foundation for their fight against structural racism and standing up to the royal family and calling them racists. Now, this award is not so much given to them as sold to them. At the time when these awards were being, sorted out, nominations or however the process, well, at the time, Meghan and Harry were still associated with Sunshine Sachs, who is not only a huge contributor to the Democratic Party, of which the Kennedys are a part, he also had other connections within the organization. This was basically another paid promotion for Meghan and Harry. That's all it is. So the Earthshot Prize is awarding $1 million to a recipient. Well, Meghan and Harry, who bought an award, are charging $1 million for people to sit at their table. Outrageous. I mean, it's just so crass. Just so crass. And upcoming on December 8th, we have the Netflix love story of Meghan and Harry. And even that's not without controversy. It's taken them over 2 years to get it going. Netflix has in the meantime dumped Pearl. They had to eventually bring in people to help put this project together. And the director, who at one time Meghan credited being one of her favorite directors, and she's fabulous, and she'll tell our story, well, even now, that it's being completed and putting out here in, a week. Meghan is backing away. I think she's nervous about what it's going to reveal. I think she knows it's going to go over like everything else she's done. So she's already setting herself up to put the blame on the director. Like, this isn't what we would have done, if it gets bad reviews. Thank God Spotify Archetypes is coming to a close. I think there's one episode left to air. And the rumor is, and the scuttlebutt is that Meghan has asked Catherine to be the guest on her final show. Can you imagine if she'd actually done that? The nerve of her to even assume that Kate would respond at all. But I don't think she asked her. I think this is another one of those things that Meghan is famous for, putting out a story saying, oh, this is going to happen. Like, they're going to be at the Oscars. They're going to be at Obama's birthday party. And then later they can come out with some kind of an excuse why they were in no show, when in fact they were never invited in the first place. I think this is another one of those publicity little things she does, put it out there and saying that she's invited Kate on the show. And then when Kate doesn't show up, she can say, well, I invited her, and that's just, see, I told you she was horrible. Look, she wouldn't even come on my show. It's another, Meghan's just setting up another scenario because she knows full well that they're not going to respond. There's also a little bit of scuttlebutt that Harry's trying to get together with William. Well, William's in Boston. They'll be a little closer together. I think this award that's happening for Harry and Meghan is in New York, although they're not there now. But private jets, they could get together anytime, notwithstanding that Kate and William this is really a royal visit, because the Earthshot Prize is a royal foundation. So this is pretty much treated the same way as any other state visit would be. They're going to have security. They're going to have an itinerary. Things are going to be planned, down to the minute. There's not going to be 3 hours spare for William and Harry to sit down and have a chit-chat. So even the presumption on Harry's part that William would actually get together with him let alone in the middle of a structured visit. I mean, it's just outrageous. I think that's another rumor, too. I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, rumors abound, and they're all coming out of the Meghan and Harry camp. Business as usual for those two. Spares coming out soon, just beginning of January, not too long now. And I had heard some things online that on Amazon that the book was going for free. So I checked it out myself. And Amazon.ca, because of course I'm here in Canada, the hardcover book is slashed by half price for free orders. The Kindle is half price as well. The audio version, which is narrated by Harry himself, is free. You can get the audiobook on Amazon for free. And I don't think this is to whip up a big promotion, pre-sale promotion, and get a lot of people to sign on, because it's free to half price depending on the version. No, I think they know they got a pig on their hands and are already cutting their losses. I wouldn't be surprised. So all these things, the prizes, the books, the Netflix, the podcast, just like everything else Harry and Meghan have done, in my opinion, what I think is these are all one-offs, just like everything else they've done. Even though they were a lot more bigger and spectacular, Netflix, a podcast, and a book, high-profile things, I think Netflix is just up to here with them. Spotify, no matter how much propaganda they spew that, how great she is for them, I don't think they'll renew her contract. Netflix isn't going to try to squeeze anything more out of them. They're best to just cut their losses and leave. Now, Harry and Meghan, between the two of them, have a few more books as part of their original contract. I think it was 3 books or something. Depending on how this one does and what it does to Harry and Meghan's reputation, the publisher can get out of a contract if they want to. They may not want any more books from these two. You never know. That remains to be seen. But I mean, if it's 1 book or 3 books that they complete, I don't think there'll be another one after that. So things aren't really looking too rosy in the new year for Harry and Meghan. And we've still got things like the second reading of the Citizens' Bill in the British Parliament regarding the removal of titles for Andrew and Harry. And so I'm not sure when that's going to be completed, but that's in the air. Harry's still fighting for his full security deal. Andrew is starting to chirp about the full security deal too. He doesn't want that to be taken away from him, even though he's not a working royal either. But to see what Andrew's been up to, he's trying to weasel his way back in somehow. And he's acting like he's a working royal, like he was still doing trips around the world to drum up business for Pitch the Palace, the scheme that he was running. He was recently in Bahrain with one of the sheiks whom they've taken money from before. I mean, Andrew makes his deals and lines his pocket at the same time, and he got a lot of criticism in the press and in the government for this, even before the whole Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Andrew's business practices have always been sketchy. He's at it again. He still thinks he's, Prince Andrew. And it seems he's very concerned about his security now that he's not a working royal. He may lose his security. He doesn't want, because just like to Harry and Meghan, it's not so much security, it's the stature. He doesn't want to lose his stature. So there's that ongoing. It's been bandied about in the press recently that other than Edward, whom everybody assumed would receive the Duke of Edinburgh title, there's thoughts that it could be Charlotte receiving the Duchess of Edinburgh title. See, originally, even before the Queen died, even before Prince Philip died, it was, I'm not sure if it was a formal statement from the palace, but anyway, widely assumed and reportedly said by the Queen that Edward would inherit the title. And indeed, he has been working for the foundation, the Duke of Edinburgh Foundation. It was assumed that he would get the title, his father's title. But now, with Charles's kind of revamping of the royal family, there's a couple factors here. There's that, wanting to focus on the line of succession only, and also because of the fact that the rules for the line of succession were amended by the Queen a while back so that a daughter could assume the throne just as easily as a son. They wouldn't be set aside for another son like Anne was. So Charlotte's in the running. She's currently third in line to the throne, and if George never has children, she'll be queen. And so in light of the fact that she's very high up in the line of succession, Charles thought it would be fitting to give her one of the most important titles in the royal family, the Duchess of Edinburgh. So then presumably when she would marry herself, her husband would become Duke of Edinburgh, just like Philip became Duke of Edinburgh when he married Princess Elizabeth at the time. So there's that going on. And more scuttlebutt with Charles accepting shady money for his foundation again. Not long ago, remember, he was called out in the press. They had photographs of the Qatari sheiks with plastic grocery bags of money, cash, like millions of dollars of cash, traipsing it up to Charles in return for favors. That scandal is still being investigated behind the scenes. And again, this week, as we all know, the World Cup is going on right now, and it's in Qatar, which is a very strict country. no alcohol. They're against, homosexuality is a crime. They're very, not a progressive state at all, and they've faced all kinds of criticism already over the course of the World Cup. And there's stars like David Beckham, and he used to be a ball player. Now he's over there in a capacity of some kind of sport ambassador. And they're paying him millions to do it. Well, he's been called out by all kinds of people for selling out. How could you support a regime like this? How could you take your money? Where's your moral ground? Well, it seems that Charles doesn't have a lot of problem taking money from the Qataris. Even though the last time the whole plastic grocery bag cash for honors still hasn't gone away, he did it again. He just recently received a donation of $4.2 million from the Qataris. And how bad that looks, especially now with the World Cup going on and the whole world kind of seeing what's going on there. It's very much in the news. But then again, and I'm not being cynical, but it's true, just like Andrew doing his thing in Bahrain, Charles taking money from Arab sheiks. The royal family has always taken money and had business dealings with some less than credible characters. It's nothing new. It's the way Charles is going about it. He's not careful enough. So he gets outed for it. So he's still under controversy. And that, like I said before, that's going to continue. Charles has a lot on his plate. This upcoming members' bill, and should the government allow Charles, give him the right or the powers to remove titles, Charles has a choice. And if the government's going to give him this kind of ability, this is what they want him to do. So if Charles removes the title, there's going to be backlash by some. But the majority of people want and expect him to do just that. If he wavers, this would cause a huge reversal in his public opinion. Serious stuff. We've got the Netflix and the book coming out. More choices for Charles. He better start paying attention, because this is getting serious. Depending on what's in the Netflix series and what's in the book, decisive action is probably going to have to be taken. This gets back to the titles. This gets back to the money. This gets back to their status. And it's going to have to be made public, not kept quiet like the bullying inquiry. See, the Queen, never put a foot wrong, but she worked very hard at hiding things that she did not want to get out in the public. And it worked very well for a very long time. But it wasn't always a right decision to make. Charles may make the same mistakes. I think Charles has, and I've said this before, I don't think he's going to last as king more than 2 years. Because the weight of the scandal and controversy around him is so heavy. And we all wonder, is he strong enough to take on that challenge? I don't know. Only time will tell. Well, have a great day, everybody. Like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you think about all these things. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.